Hello, and welcome to the show, the only show that matters. My name is Andrew Hoadley, and with me today is Clayton, Carr,
Yo.
and Perri Fusco.
Hello.
Now, in this episode, we're going to be reviewing the three biggest calzone places in Cohasset. We have Victoria's, Chops, or Cohasset House of Pizza, and 3A Pizza. Now, because of COVID, we're going to be reviewing these slices all together with the four other senses: touch, smell, sight, and I guess not hearing, but something along the lines.
I don't know. I feel like they can make a very scrumptious sound.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, when you're breaking it apart, it really does make a nice sound.
Yeah.
But to get us started, we're going to start with Victoria's, a lesser known establishment, but still big. Now, why don't we all take a look at the inside? Because I think we can all agree the outside is not as appealing.
It's a very ugly outside.
Mine kind of fell apart. That's something I do have to do.
It's very ugly on the outside, but
Yeah.
it's the inward personality that really matters.
Yes, I agree.
Looking at it only from the outside, it's kind of dull. But when you look at the inside, there's a lot to be said. There's a lot of cheese and, I guess, chicken with calzone buffalo sauce on it.
That's what I described it.
So visually, not ignoring the outside and looking only in the inside, because that's all that matters. I would give it like a 4 out of 5.
I would have to think a 3 out of 5.
I was
you
going to
know?
say 3 out of 5 too.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fair.
My reasoning is I don't like bright colors,
Oh,
and the
Okay.
buffalo sauce is a very bright orange.
okay.
It seems like a personal problem.
It is a personal problem. I'm a very subjective judge.
Okay.
That makes sense. How about you?
I also agree with 3 out of 10 because, as we said, the exterior is very ugly. But when you get inside, I would give it 3 points because, but mine kind of fell apart. So that's why I have to take off another point.
Yeah, that's very
But,
unfortunate.
that could also be a me problem because of the way I took it out of the box. But we're just going to take off a point for that.
It's true. All right. Next, let's give it a smell. Through the mask.
I'm not lifting mine up.
You're not lifting yours up?
No, I can't.
It's a very
Very
strong.
strong.
Yeah, very strong
Strong.
buffalo smell.
Very
Almost
strong.
like wings.
But
That's what I was
yet
gonna say.
it's a bit tangy, but not too overwhelming.
Yeah. I'd say it's pleasant.
I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah,
too.
I'll stick with a 4 out of 5 on the smell too. Well, how are we gonna guess the smell? I guess we'll want to break it apart, maybe touch it a little.
It's very.
It has a moist sound.
You
to
would
it.
think that from the way it looks, you would think that it's like hard as a rock.
But it's
Yeah.
not.
But when you really like press into it, it's very soft.
It's
Very
interesting.
very not like doughy. It's well-made bread, but it's.
Deceiving.
I'd give the touch like a solid 5 out of 5.
Me too.
Yeah, I might stick with the 4 out of 5. The moist feeling is a little uncomfortable,
I like it.
and leads me to believe that the taste test is gonna be a little messy.
Oh.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to stick with my 5 out of 5.
All right. Well, now, I guess we'll move on to do the 4 senses with chops. Now, these are much smaller pieces compared to Victoria's, but visually, I'm gonna give it a
Visually-
5 out of 5.
Visually, I'm gonna give this. This is definitely a 5 out of 5.
I'd say 5 out of 5 too. I have a bias because these are my favorites from before, but I'm not going to let that interrupt the process. I think that it's very visually appealing. You can see it's perfectly cooked. And you can see the chicken from the inside with the cheese. I think it looks really great.
Yeah.
When you think of a calzone, this is what I think of.
Exactly.
I could see that.
It looks like a perfect, it's like a stock photo of a cow.
Yeah, it's like with the Victoria's one, they took some like artistic liberty with it, but with
Yeah.
this one, it really is how you'd imagine a calzone.
Exactly.
It looks. It's a good looking piece of pie.
hmm Not just on the inside, but also on the outside.
Yeah.
All right, let's give it a smell.
I can smell more of the bread than the
Not as
sauce.
Yeah.
as Victoria's.
I'm smelling the cheese.
Yeah.
I'm smelling the cheese, and I feel like the soul of it is like is the actual chicken, you know, the meat, the filling, and you know you can't really be appetized for just cheese. I'm gonna have to give this smell like a 3 out of 5.
I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5. Like when you
Wow.
think of buffalo chicken, it says it in the name. It's a buffalo chicken. You're supposed to smell the buffalo,
I mean,
and I'm just smelling the cheese.
It's a very small. It's very strong smelling.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a 4 out of 5 because I personally like the cheesy smell. I think it's good, but I can understand why when you're smelling a calzone you would like to smell the chicken and not the cheese. But that's just me. 4 out of 5.
That's fair. That's fair. Now let's move on to I guess the
Touch and sound,
touch and sound.
right? Oh,
Very crispy,
It's kind of firm.
it's very.
firm, and
It's not like this one where it's just like, you know, soft. It's very stretchy.
it's got like a firm elastic taste. If that
Yeah.
makes feel if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily a good or bad thing when it comes to calzones. You know,
Yeah, it can go either way.
you could split it apart with your hands, right? It's very, however, it's very stretchy,
Yeah.
which makes me feel like it would be chewy. Which with crispy buffalo chicken, you don't really want the outside to be chewy.
No.
So I'm gonna have to give the touch a solid 2 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 3 out of 5. With a calzone, you want to have something you're biting. You don't want to have something
Yeah.
like liquid or
But-
something that's runny.
But the sounds, I mean, like, it's a very crisp, crunchy sound.
Yeah, just sound alone, 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
5
think
out
we
of
can
5.
all agree
crunch.
the sound would be a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
But with the touch, I would have to also go with the 2 out of 5. I just think that it's deceiving to the person. When you're biting into a calzone, you want to have that crunchiness, and that's just not what you're getting with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our last calzone. We have my personal favorite, 3A's. Now, just looking at it visually, it's a masterpiece.
Visually, I don't see that much of a difference
No,
from shops.
don't say that.
I agree
look
with
at
that
look
statement.
at look at mine. You know, look at this.
Okay, maybe with yours.
Maybe with mine. Maybe I'm just
You
like
can see like a
bit-
drastic difference between mine, like this
Okay,
and that.
but
Yeah.
for me
I
they
think
look
maybe
the
you just
same.
got two very similar pieces, but you
For
know.
me, they look the same.
Well, for me, judging based on what I'm seeing in front of me, the cheese is much more all around crispy. You can see the chicken. Just looking at the chicken, you know it's gonna have like a nice crunch.
Yeah.
The cheese isn't like gooey, but it's also not like completely solid. It's got a very nice appeal. 5 out of 5. 6 out of 5 actually.
No.
Yes.
We don't
I-
do that. We're not doing
I
that.
do that.
No, we're not.
Okay, so just to bring down the average, to make it fair, I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5? Oh gosh. I feel like I'm torn right now. I think I'm gonna have to go with a 4 out of 5, just to put us right in the middle. But that is what I do agree with that statement.
All right. Moving on from smell. Let's go. Moving on to smell. Let's give a little whiff.
You know, definitely better than the previous one. I can actually
I think it's
smell the
better
chicken.
than both of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, I could smell the chicken. It's not tangy like Victoria's, but it's, you know, it's like the pleasant blend of cheese and buffalo chicken that you're really there for.
Yeah, I've also got to say this is the one that's probably maintained the smell the most.
Yeah.
Like all these are a little old, but this one you can smell the chicken with the cheese, which is something that both of these did not have, and you also get a hint of the breading, which I think really brings out the
breading,
full essence of it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to give this the on smell 5 out of 5.
I agree.
5 out of 5.
All right, now the touch and sound. What are we feeling?
Oh, yep.
Oh my goodness,
It's crispy.
it is crispy.
It's very crispy, and it's not as stretchy. You know, it's still a bit stretchy, but I get less of that sense that it's gonna be really chewy when
Yeah.
I bite into it.
it's gonna have like the chewiness of the cheese, but then the sharp contrast of the crispy chicken.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
I'm very
I'm excited too.
I'm gonna have to give touch a 4 out of 5. Sound, it's a bit goopy, a bit slimy.
Yeah.
You know, the goop factor's not all there.
Ah, the goop factor, yeah.
Always forget about the goop factor.
I'm gonna have to
Sneaks up on you.
I'm gonna have to give sound a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
With touch, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I'm really feeling like what I'm going to be experiencing. But then with the sound, it's not as prominent as it was with the chops. So I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5.
I'm gonna give the sound a 3 out of 5. I like how it was crisp, but as you guys said before, I couldn't compare it to the other two. And the touch, I really like it. I think it's gonna be good. So I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. I like how it's like, it's calzone like material. Like it's not like a pizza. It's not like gooey. Like it's good. Like it's nice. It won't fall apart.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
that does make sense.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna move on to the taste. So 2 of us are gonna leave the room, while 1 of us stays to taste it and then give their opinion.
All right. You want to go first, Andrew?
I will go first.
All right.
All right, welcome back. And we're now going to transition to the tasting segment of the show. I'm going to now take off my mask and give Victoria's a try. Now this is very interesting because you can really taste the juice of the buffalo. The cheese is kind of overwhelmed, like it's not really as present, but the buffalo chicken does have a strong presence along with the breading, which I guess with the name of buffalo chicken calzone, the cheese isn't in the name, which makes a lot of sense why it's not really there. But compared to calzones that I've already had, it's very different. It's a different type, kind of. It's got a lot of juice to it and not as much crunch, which is something I guess we expected with the touch test, but is still surprising. Rating it based off of taste alone, I would give it a 3 out of 5, close to maybe a 4 out of 5 just because it's something new, but it doesn't really live up to what I've experienced with a buffalo chicken calzone. Now, moving on to maybe the more famous one here, Cohasset House of Pizza, or Chops. Now that's a calzone. It's very different from 3A, where it has a lot more firmness. You're actually biting into something other than the crust. You can taste the chicken and the cheese, but what's lacking in this one is what the Victoria's has. It's lacking the buffalo taste. It really just tastes like I'm having a chicken calzone. It should be renamed to a chicken and cheese calzone, because that's all you're really getting here. You're not getting the buffalo flavor. And if I'm gonna be honest, it's a little disappointing because when you specify you want a buffalo chicken calzone, you're kind of hoping for the buffalo taste. But all around, looking past that, it's a very good calzone. I would give it probably a 3 out of 5 as well, but not as close to a 4 out of 5 because I feel like I'm kind of being cheated here, where I'm asking for buffalo chicken and I'm not really getting it. Moving on to the last one, we have 3A. Now, it's very good. I've actually had this one before many times. And it's got everything I like. It's got the crunch of the chicken, very prominent. It's got the crispiness of the cheese, and it's got the crunch of the breading. And I'm a sucker for the crunch. which was lacking in both of these. But just like with chops, it doesn't have the buffalo flavor that I'm really looking for. It's kind of there, but just a little. So it's kind of just like with chops, where I feel like I'm being lied to, but I'm a little bit less mad about it since it tastes just so good. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 4 out of 5. And ranking them from worst to best, I think I'm gonna go with chops being the worst, Victoria's being the next best, and then the best being 3A. And we'll now transition to Clayton giving his taste test.
Hi, I'm Clayton Carr, and I'm going to be reviewing the taste of these 3 calzones.
I will now remove my mask. First up, we got Victoria's. Now, ugly on the outside, but when we give it a nice little bite, very good. Objectively very good. I taste the chicken. I don't taste the cheese that much. Now, it's not because of the chicken I don't taste the cheese, it's because of the sauce. But very good. But I feel like a calzone isn't complete without the cheese. So I'm gonna have to give this taste solid 3 out of 5. Next, we got chops. You know, cheese on top, very good. Gonna give this a little bite. Now I don't taste any buffalo sauce, but otherwise it tastes amazing. Not only that, but I'm getting more of a seared bite from chops than Victoria's. Solid 4 out of 5. Finally, we got 3A pizza. Now, for me, at least, it's similar visually. But the real difference is when you take a bite. Now that's a calzone. Way juicier, solid 30% more juicier. Not as much, no, same problem with the buffalo sauce. It just tastes like chicken, but that's all right. It's very good, very juicy. I'm not very mad about it. I'm gonna have to give this also a 4 out of 5. We will now transfer to Perri Fusco for her to give her taste test of these 3 calzones.
Hi, I'm Perri Fusco, and I will be also taste testing these 3 calzones, but with my personal opinion. I personally prefer mine with blue cheese, but I cannot do that because it would give it a bias. But first, we'll be trying the Victoria's calzone, and mine kind of fell apart, so I'm gonna try my. Oh, I have to take my mask off. Try my best here. I'm gonna have to, okay. So I'm not a big fan of spicy foods, and this kind of had a kick to it, and I know all buffalo chicken has a kick to it, but this particularly, and I couldn't really taste much of the cheese. It was more just chicken, sauce, and bread, which is okay. Everyone has a preference, but for me, I'm not a great fan of that. So I'm gonna have to give Victoria's a 3 out of 5. I just wish there would have been a little bit more cheese in there. Moving on, we have chops, or Cohasset House of Pizza. Now, I kind of have a bias because I've had this a lot of times in the past, but coming from just a place of honesty, I do think this is the perfect calzone. I think it has the perfect amount of chicken. I think it has the perfect amount of cheese. I personally don't like too much sauce, so that's what I like about it. I can see why other people would disagree, but I'm gonna have to go with a 5 out of 5 on the Cohasset House of Pizza. And finally, we have 3A pizza. I'm gonna give that, I do like this. However, I kind of felt overwhelmed with the taste of the cheese. It was good. I think it was very similar to Cohasset House of Pizza's calzone. Based on my ratings from before, we know that I think the outside looks very good. It looks very appetizing, but I do feel like it's kind of deceiving because of the inside, there's not that much sauce, I like that, but it just wasn't as fulfilling as the Cohasset House of Pizza. So I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5. So for my final ratings, I would say Victoria's was the worst, 3A was second, and Cohasset House of Pizza was first.
Welcome back, and that was our honest taste test. Some controversial opinions by some of us, but honest by others. I guess the consensus from the three of us, or two of us, was that that 3A's was better, while one of us believed that Shops was better. But we all came to the same conclusion.
That's all I have to say. It is. It's better.
Yeah.
You guys are wrong.
But we all came to the general same conclusion that Victoria's had too much buffalo sauce in it that made it a little overwhelming. After finishing the slice that I had, I came to agree that it is probably the worst one because of that. But overall, the chicken and cheese taste of both Chops and 3A made it better.
Specifically 3A.
Yes. Specifically 3A. With that, we're going to wrap up. I'd like to thank Clayton and Perri for giving us their time. And this was the show where we are professionals at everything we do. Thank you.